A Gremlins animated series doesn't make a lot of sense today, but I feel in 1990 there would have been a big audience for it, myself included. Given these comments from my previous video way back in January of 2017, I thought now was a great time to eat those words and give you my thoughts on this new Gremlins animated series. Now, I've got to be honest, I've obviously been living under a rock, as I had absolutely zero idea this show was even in the works. So you can bet your favourite Gizmo plushie that I was shocked but pleasantly surprised to hear of the show's release. Gremlins Secrets of the Mogwai debuted on the recently renamed Max streaming service on May 23rd of 2023, and as of this recording, so far 4 episodes have been released, which is enough to give me these initial impressions, so be warned, there may be some spoilers ahead. To start off with, I was happy to see Steven Spielberg and the director of the original movies, Joe Dante, were both involved in this project in producer roles. And while I'm not sure exactly how much creative input they've had with this new show, it does bring me a little bit of comfort knowing that their names are linked to the property, even if it's just in a producer role. The series acts as a prequel to the films as it follows Sam Wing, the proprietor of the antique store in the original films, but as a young boy. We see him introduced to the Mogwai and Gizmo as he learns of his grandfather's history with these mysterious creatures. Given the reclusive and mystical nature of these largely unknown Mogwai, very few, if any, know of their true power, which is their ability to grant immortality to whomever may consume one. And while it's a bit of a morbid secret, it explains how in the original movie, Gizmo would come to be in Sam's possession, and also how he doesn't appear to have aged since Sam's childhood. Hearing from his grandpa how these Mogwai once nearly destroyed China, it's up to Sam and his new streetwise pal Elle to protect Gizmo and return him to the Valley of Jade, thus preventing anyone from trying to harness the Mogwai's secret powers and potentially destroying all of China. Even going back to my previous video, I hadn't really envisioned what type of stories an animated series would tell, but I'm very happy with the direction that the writers chose. Seeing the origin of the relationship between Gizmo and Sam is really cool, and I love the Chinese setting and the overall aesthetic of this world. We see a lot of mystic or magical elements at play here, which doesn't feel at all out of place given the original supernatural nature of the Mogwai and the Gremlins in the original movies. I love the fact that there's a big overarching storyline here, and the episodes aren't simply episodic like a lot of other animated series can be, as it makes the stories and history of these characters feel much more grand. I think this animated format works really well, and I love the look and feel of the show. The animation is unique as it appears to utilize 3D modeling, but the art style gives it a weird type of painted 2D feel. I don't really know how to describe it, but it feels to me to be a great blend of old school and new school animation styles. Given the blend of the new animation paired with the new interpretations of the classic Gremlins music, makes for a real treat to the senses. The animation also allows for a lot more emotion and expression for Gizmo and the Gremlins, which is great as they were somewhat limited in their original puppet form. The character designs also follow on from the Gremlins 2 trend of giving the new Mogwai each different distinctive facial features, both in their Mogwai and Gremlin forms. And speaking of their gremlin forms, I love the look of the cocoons, and the animated pulsating hatching effects just look awesome. The human character designs are also pretty cool, although there are some questionable design choices, such as this guy who somewhat looks like a potato. Along with this fresh new look, we also get a fresh new cast, and while it's unfortunate that Howie Mandel doesn't return for the role of Gizmo, we are treated to a pretty stacked cast, with the likes of Ming-Na Wen, B.D. Wong, and James Hong playing the roles of Sam's parents and grandpa. We even get Eric Bauza and Zach Galligan, better known as Billy Peltzer from the original films, playing a couple of henchmen. The show is filled with plenty of fun and humour, some of it goofy, such as the recurring gag of people mistaking Gizmo for a cat or dog, sometimes referring to him as Cat Dog. Cat Dog. No, not that one. We even get some darker humour, such as a scene where a gremlin bites off one of the henchmen's fingers and has it hanging out of his mouth like a cigar.
I got one, boss, but you got my finger. Look at you. Such joie de vivre.
Overall, I think the show is pretty fun and a well-crafted addition to the Gremlins franchise, which has been relatively stagnant, at least on movie and TV screens, since the 90s. Unless, of course, you consider the Space Jam 2 cameo, which obviously we don't. I'm not sure if the series is targeted for a younger audience or more towards old school fans, but I don't think it really matters, as there's plenty here for both audiences. Whether or not we ever see the long rumoured third Gremlins movie, I'm just happy to see the Gremlins again in whatever form it may be. Any signs of new life going forward for the franchise is likely dependent on the success of this current series, but that is yet to be seen. So far, the early feedback on the show has seemed quite positive, so I'm hopeful the series will do well enough that we see more Gremlins content in the near future. Okay guys, you all know the procedure. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, I'll catch you guys next time.